Hello, everyone, and welcome to Disney WTF, brought to you by the Walt Daily. This is episode 46, and for those that don't know us by now, we are a Disney couple. One of us is a Disney fanatic, one of us is not, but somehow we've made a way to make this relationship work.
Yeah. Fourth anniversary.
Fourth anniversary of...
Happy anniversary.
Oh, yeah. We've been together for 4 years now. and 2 days.
Yeah, there you go.
Anywho, we have special guests with us today.
We certainly do. They are my brother, Matthew, and my sister-in-law, Michelle. Hey, guys, welcome.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having us back.
I thought we lost
Sorry
you
we
guys for a
can't
second.
be there in person this time.
I know our plan was originally to do an in-person recording at Sunroom Studios, but the timing did not work out. But that is okay because this is going to be a great episode nonetheless, and I'm super, super duper excited about today's topic.
Yes. But first, will we do headlines?
Okay.
Headlines.
Okay. So first headline, and I'm so glad we have extra Disney people here today.
Okay.
The big news is the Purple Wall is getting a refurbishment.
Interesting.
Rip.
Yes, so it is getting repainted, and there's going to be some sort of a design that's already been sketched out onto the wall, and it's probably going to look totally different. It's going to be purple with design.
Interesting. It's like, I wonder if it's going to be like graffiti. Kind of like how like all the artsy stuff is like a thing now. Maybe. You think about that. You guys think about that.
I don't think it will be.
What I also read apparently is that the purple wall was created by painting the wall, a deeper purple, and it was just years and years of sun bleaching.
Interesting.
And they're using the original purple. So the purple wall
Ooh.
probably won't be back for a while then.
That's interesting.
It's going to be a royal purple, maybe.
Solid insight right there.
Yeah. Very fascinating. What do you guys think of the design? Like the fact that they're going to put like design on it instead of just purple?
I mean, if you've been to the purple wall once, now you got to come back.
Those evil geniuses.
Disney.
So
I can't really talk because I only discovered that the purple wall was a thing really recently.
Me too.
And Laurie can attest to the fact that we've walked by that purple wall many times, not thinking it was just a wall. We didn't know it was Insta-famous this whole time.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Like, until I joined Instagram, I didn't even know a purple wall or the bubblegum wall or the toothpaste wall was a thing. I'm calling myself out there. But
Yeah.
I mean, especially the purple wall, because it's super unassuming. It's just like literally an old purple wall that's been there since the 70s.
Yeah.
I think that's the allure of it, but I don't get why they're repainting it after they even started dropping merchandise about the purple wall.
I know.
Someone sounds upset.
So they can sell more merchandise.
I know, it's definitely going to be like an opportunity to sell more merchandise, 100%, right? All right. Okay. Next headline. And Matt and Michelle, I definitely want to get you guys' opinions on this. So I read online that there's a petition now to get Meryl Streep to step into the role of Princess Leia after the passing of Carrie Fisher. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I mean, it's just rumor.
Yes. It's just a petition.
It's just a petition.
I mean, as rumors go, I've seen, on the forums on Facebook, things that point to, Meryl Streep potentially stepping in, and I've also seen the contrary, where on the Star Wars forums saying that it's absolutely not true. The rumor is false. Personally, no offense to Meryl Streep, but there was only one Carrie Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one Princess Leia. So I feel like the writers for Episode 9, they have to figure out a plot line in which Leia is no longer present, or do the amazing CGI that they did for Grand Moff Tarkin and Leia back in Rogue One. So that's just my overall opinion. I think it's kind of in the same vein as trying to replace Mark Hamill with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it. There's only one Mark Hamill. There's only one Carrie Fisher.
You can't do it. That's funny.
Can't do it. I think that I fear that if they put Meryl Streep in that role, that they'll get so much backlash, and as much backlash as they got for The Last Jedi. which I thoroughly enjoyed, despite what the fans say.
Which I thoroughly enjoyed. Well, that's an interesting opinion. I mean, I totally get where you're coming from, even as like not the biggest, Star Wars follower necessarily. Like, it's just strange because in your mind, that something's wrong. Even if somebody does step into the role, you're just like, wait a second, something is off, and it's because of Meryl Streep. And yet she still got an Academy Award for it. How? But that's Meryl Streep.
But I gotta tell you, like, I don't know if you guys saw Rogue One, but me and Michelle when we saw the CGI for Grand Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia in Rogue One, we were blown away.
I was thoroughly confused. I was just like, did they find somebody else to play him? Is he like even still alive?
Yeah, when Grand Moff Tarkin came out on the screen, and he had rest in peace. He had been dead for many years. The actor who portrays him. Michelle, when we were watching the movie, she whispers to me, "Didn't he die?"
Oh my gosh! Well, that's a testament to like the technology and how far we've come with CGI from Jurassic Park. Although I did see Jurassic Park the other day, and the dinosaurs still look real.
True story.
All right, cool. Well, it'll be cool to see what happens. I mean, with that, the new stories that come out, and if they do happen to replace the characters, maybe they are just going to do some CGI action, which, I mean, in this day and age, like, is just as good as the real thing.
Yeah.
So.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Last headline. So, as we all know, Toy Story Land is opening June 30th in Hollywood Studios. However, I know, super exciting. However, there will be some remodeling happening around Toy Story Mania. So much so that the Fast Pass line will be closed for about a month for Toy Story Mania. And it will only be standby. I can't remember the last time I actually rode Toy Story Mania, to be honest.
Samesies.
What was the last time you...
6 months ago, maybe?
I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, and you guys live in Orlando, so it's like... you go to Disney a lot, and it's still been 6 months.
You can't get fast passes for it. There's never any fast passes for it. And
popular?
living in Orlando, we essentially refuse to stand by for anything that's more than 30 to 45 minutes. We'll just come back and do it another day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Richie, it is super popular. Fast passes are a must because the wait times are always, crazy.
I don't think I've ever ridden that thing.
Yeah.
Well, the wait times have gotten better since they added the third track.
Well, and partially the reason, I guess, to, speaking to what Michelle was saying, like, we don't ride it because we can't get fast passes for it because I don't make them, nor do we go to Hollywood Studios. So.
Yeah, you guys got to change that.
I know. We are going to go to Hollywood Studios, I think, on an upcoming trip. Definitely. I mean, there's just so much going on, though, in other parks. Not Food and Wine. Yeah. Flower and Garden, the 20th anniversary of Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. Well, I saw videos of the new Toy Story thing on Facebook, which was cool.
Toy Story Land?
Toy Story Land.
Did you watch them independently?
No, like I was scrolling through and it popped up. I was like, oh, look at that. And I just kept going.
Oh, so you didn't stop and watch?
No, I didn't stop and watch.
Oh, on liquor delays.
Because I know we're going to go, so I don't want to ruin it or anything.
Well, what if it's like Pandora and we go, but we don't go?
No, it's fine. Same thing with Pandora. I haven't looked at anything, even though like it's been like a year.
Well, to put it in perspective, actually, because you experienced Pandora close to opening, Toy Story Midway Mania, which is the main ride right now, that's open in Hollywood Studios for Toy Story, it was like the Flight of Passage where you had to wait hours to get on.
That's crazy.
So.
Anywho.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's transition. Let's transition out of headlines because today's episode is going to be super fun.
Yes.
And super interesting. We're going to discuss must-dos for Disney first-timers.
Yes.
And I think everybody kind of has what their own likes about the parks are. So maybe our must-dos for first-timers are all going to be different. We have not discussed what our answers are. So everything you hear is going to be off the cuff, and it's going to be maybe some overlap, because who knows?
Yes.
All right. But first, Matt and Michelle, I want to start here. When you picture a first-timer that you're going to decide things to do for, who are you picturing?
Richie.
Nailed it.
I picture the person that, for instance, I was at Magic Kingdom yesterday, and I was by myself just doing a solo tour yesterday, and I picture the person who calls the Haunted Mansion the haunted house.
Solid.
All right.
Yeah, that's the person I have in my mind.
I do feel like every time I go to Disney, I'm like a first timer again. Is that weird?
Maybe because you do new things every time.
I just feel like because every time I go, I'm just like, there's just still so much that I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I still don't know how to get places when we walk into Magic Kingdom. Like, I know where I'm at, you know, but like, when like, all right, let's go here. I'm like, how do we get there?
That's because Richie only wants to go to the Hublon these days, so he just stops at Main Street and just sits.
It's true.
I
mean, I can't blame him. That's you know, you just get a Dole Whip. You find a spot on the Hublon. You enjoy your Dole Whip on the lawn.
I know. That's, you know what? That would make a great t-shirt. Dole Whip on the lawn, or a band name.
Okay.
But anyways.
Copyright.
Copyright. 2018, Disney WTF. So, because I go back and forth, because when I was trying to picture like a Disney first timer, I was also picturing an adult. So nobody pictured like a family with kids. Like,
we don't have any experience planning for a family with kids yet.
We kind of do. We went on one family trip with 2 toddlers, an infant
And
and a
you
toddler.
sat on the Hublon.
Yeah,
That's true.
that is what we did all day, was sit on the Hublon. So Richie has the right idea then.
Yeah.
All right. So how many days do you think that a first timer should spend at Walt Disney World? Realistically, because really there's no end to the limit. There's no limit probably, and you could still not see everything, but a realistic time frame. What are you guys thinking?
3 to 7.
3 to 7 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending on your like, I don't know, depending on your situation. Like, because I feel like the more people you might be, the more days you might need.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But like if it's just like a couple, like 2 people, 3 to 4 days might be enough.
True. I like where you're coming from. All right.
That's smart.
Matt, Michelle?
I feel like 4 to 7, you know, 4 at like the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though we kind of have some half-day parks, you still want to throw some Disney Springs in there, or maybe some water parks. And then just like Richie was saying, depending on your situation, maybe you go and repeat some parks and you extend it out for that full week. And I feel like families or even people take vacations in a week format. We're not British. We don't take fortnights and go for 2 weeks.
That'd be nice.
I wonder if people do that. Like they spend weeks at a time at Disney.
Oh, 100%.
You think so?
Oh, 100%.
God,
Not
that
even
sounds
thinking.
rough.
I'm pretty sure I've overheard. Like, that's why they sell 10-day tickets and 14-day tickets.
They sell those?
Ugh.
I did not know
Think
that.
of all the overnight parking fees.
I know. That's like the cost of like a week at the Grand Floridian and overnight parking fees.
But those 10-day tickets, you have to use them all consecutively, or are they selling 10-day tickets where you can come back and like come back?
Well,
later?
as I kind of discussed this on our last episode, so before, tickets used to not have, like, you could buy a no expiration option, but now tickets do expire within 14 days of using them.
Oh, snap.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's relatively new in the past couple of years.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how those sales happen, like how those sales do, to see if like people are actually staying there for that amount of time
Yeah.
with, you know, like 10, 14 days at a time.
I mean, hopefully if you're staying for 14 days, by that point, your like per day is only $20. Like, maybe that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's like cost effective if you're going to be there for that long, but I'm just wondering like who's going to be there for that long.
Well, at some point it's going to breach probably like, and you know, you might as well just get the annual pass because you're staying there for a certain date, like a certain amount of days, which I think is what happens.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay, Matt, how long do you think a first timer should stay?
The number that immediately came to my mind when you posed that question was 4 days on average. Disney World, I think to see it all can be very overwhelming. So I think it kind of depends also on the demographic of the first timer. Is this a family of 4? You know, your kind of nuclear family, mom, dad, and you know, Luke and Leia. Are they coming? You know, Michelle, hint, hint.
Veto.
Or is it a bunch of, old college friends getting back together, getting the band back together and, just hitting a few attractions here and there, but also spending some time by the pool, or hitting up Disney Springs and maybe hitting a couple restaurants, or even, and enjoying some nighttime life at the boardwalk, going to the dance hall or Trader Sam's at the Polynesian. So I think, kind of 4 days is kind of like maybe your average time frame, to kind of see and do a little bit of everything. But certainly there are those families out there who extend their trips to even a week, sometimes 10 days, for their trip. Because oftentimes the visit to Disney is, it's not usually the local who's got an annual pass, but it's usually that that family who's taken their, biannual or annual trip to Disney World, and they want to, do a fairly long trip because they don't come all that often.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely kind of in the range where you guys were, like 4 to 7 days. And the reason 4 to me doesn't sound like enough, but at the same time, for a Disney first timer, 7 days might be too long, and they might not. I don't want to say appreciate it as much, but maybe they're going to get so tired by the end of the trip because there's so much to do that it just won't be worth that extra expense if you're not going to enjoy it as much on day 7 as you did on day 4 because your trip was just too long.
Plus, you have to take into consideration too, like, especially depending on the day you go, it's miles of walking in the sun.
Yeah.
Solid point. At some point, like, even if you might still think like it's fun, you haven't seen it all, like the exhaustion and the tiredness, like, I think would eventually catch up, and then you start missing home. Then you feel like you're on vacation, you want to relax. Mm-hmm. So I think like all like those types of things too will start to like have a factor on more than 4 days.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean,
I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, for those families who stay for that extended period of time, that 7 to 10 day trip, they probably do sprinkle in that one day where they kind of just take a low key day where they just stay at the hotel and kind of recuperate and recharge the batteries, because a full day at Magic Kingdom from 8 to midnight, if there's extra magic hours trying to see it all, it can get exhausting. And
Indeed.
and families want to do some relaxing on their vacation, because after all, it is vacation.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's crazy because like we as Disney, lifetime Disney goers, we haven't seen it all. So to expect somebody to do that in 4 days, it's not realistic. But I guess that's kind of why we're here, like must-dos.
Yeah.
Because you're not
Correct.
going to have all those be able to do it all. So let's transition out of that. And I think we're going to kind of...
Today's word of the day is transition.
Oh, have I used it a lot?
It like 4 times
Oh, I'm
already.
sorry. It was on my word of the day toilet paper. I'm just kidding. So... I think we're going to kind of answer my next question as we go along, so we don't really have to go over it too much right now. But in terms of, I think what I want everybody to keep in the back of their minds is, where are we distributing our time? Because Walt Disney World is huge. There's so much to do. There's so much to do if you're staying on property, just at your resort alone. There's 4 parks, and really a couple of them could warrant more than one day. So... yeah, we'll just keep that in the back of our mind. Maybe we'll come back around that at the end of our list. So let's start with Michelle. What do you think your first must-do for a Disney first-timer is?
Signature dining.
Okay.
Because, like, there's so much quick service food, and a lot of it is awesome. But at the same time, there's so many amazing table service restaurants that just pick one that has like a cult following and go there.
How do you find that? Like, how do you know what's signature dining?
I mean, how many places in the world can you sit in a castle and be surrounded by princesses while you eat your food?
Yeah, but how does the first timer find what's a signature dining experience? Like, how do they know the difference? This is like if I'm going, I'm not gonna know which ones.
Ways that they can help you. They have vacation planners, and like, I have this phone number ingrained in my brain, 407-WDW-DINE, and they are so helpful.
Oh, okay. So you just call that number.
I'm looking for a signature
Okay,
dining
there you go.
experience. There you go.
That's what
And
I
they're
was looking for.
so,
Okay.
like, they are there to, like, give you suggestions, like, okay, this is what I'm doing, or this is where I'll be. What do you guys recommend? Or what's, like, a very popular thing to do?
Nice. So let's get that phone number one more time. What was it?
It's 407-WDW-DINE.
There you go. Nice. Thanks for that. That's a gem right there.
Perfect.
And it's so easy to remember.
It is. I think I did know it at one point, and I just like happened to forget because I hate making reservations. I just want to be free.
Well, we want to do everything on MDE now. But there's certain places on property that you can't use MDE for, and you have to call.
Which is my Disney experience,
Oh,
Richie.
okay. What is
His
MDE?
eyes were like, what? What is this?
Okay.
Okay, cool. That's a good suggestion. Now, Matt, what do you think your must-do would be?
Now, I gotta say first, my wife caught me off guard with saying signature dining. I fully expected her to say some attraction, But because I think that's what we typically think of when we think of must-dos at Disney, is that everyone kind of harps on attractions. And
Well, I figured everyone would harp on attractions. That's why I went with dining.
Smart. So smart.
You're no ordinary princess.
Oh, God.
Is that a line from Star Wars?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
Doubt it.
It sounds like it would be.
Interesting.
Anyways.
But anywho, I'm gonna take the traditional, Stacy Resort TV top 7 must-do route and pick an attraction. So I think my pick would probably have to be the Haunted Mansion. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I could have told you that.
That was going to be his number one.
Yeah.
I kind of flirted also with Tower of Terror, as a must-do, just in terms of just theming, kind of transporting you to a different time and place, and also the attraction in of itself. And I also thought about Pirates as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to pick an attraction that's, that is classic, and it's got a lot of history involved. And I think the Haunted Mansion does just that. Family fun for everybody.
I mean, it's still pretty scary.
I cried the first time I rode Haunted Mansion, and I was 21.
Of fear?
There you go.
Of fear or like emotionally happy?
I was doing a cast exclusive activity, and there was some behind the scenes like storytelling where they like kind of gave the backstory behind the attic room. And Matt just found this out recently. I was not a Disney file until I actually started working for the parks, and I had just never been on Haunted Mansion, had no interest in it, didn't know what it was, figured it was just some like haunted house, and I don't like jump scares. And we were in the stretch room, and I had no idea what was going on, and the voice, it travels, and somebody in our group decided it would be a great time to give me a jump scare after hearing these stories, and I lost it.
Nice.
Good times.
Well, see, that's the thing, because I think, beginning to end, it's an attraction in itself. Even the queue, I believe, is an attraction of itself.
Yeah, totally agree. Especially now that it's more interactive and it's not just, walking under a tent and hanging out.
I think even that approach, you're just still trying. You see the outside facade, and all too often you're in the queue line and you hear kids kind of freaking out, and you have the typical parent reassuring their child like, it's not scary, it's not scary.
It's fun, it's not scary.
It's fun. And then still some of those tricks, those kind of parlor tricks that they use to create the effects, they still hold true to this day, even after 40 plus years of being in existence. They still hold up pretty dang well, in my opinion.
Yeah, concur. Agreed.
Yeah. I went to Magic Kingdom yesterday. All I did was I walked around. I visited Michelle at Market and Fantasyland. I had Columbia Harbor House, and I rode Haunted Mansion. That was basically my day yesterday. So even after all these years, I still go back to Haunted Mansion if I still have to do one attraction inside the park.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely to your point that if Mansion is a must-do for a seasoned person like you, then it's got to be a must-do for a first-timer. Yeah.
Absolutely. I wish that they would bring Haunted Mansion Holiday over to the Orlando Haunted Mansion from Disneyland.
Which, I saw so is that the Nightmare Before Christmas version? Like specifically?
That's right.
Okay, so then just making sure, because, just making sure. So I rode that when we were in Tokyo Disneyland for the first time. Richie really enjoyed that one, actually.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites. Easily.
Easily?
Yeah, it was super entertaining. It wasn't like the Haunted Mansion. Like, it was completely different.
Well, yeah, it was. Because it was a movie, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my must-do is kind of like in the same vein, which, Michelle, you're unique so far on the list, but my must-do is in the same vein as Matthew, where, like, I specifically said, ride the classics. Mm-hmm. So just generally.
Oh, you can't do that.
Why?
You got to pick something. You can't just say ride the classics.
Why not?
That's not how this, I think, goes. That's like go to Disney.
I don't think Richie knows what the classics are.
Specifically ride the classics. So the ones I put on my list They're all at Magic Kingdom, actually. Pirates, Mansion, Space Mountain, and Carousel Progress.
Okay.
The classics. And these all, Walt had like a hand in.
Okay.
So I think that's important to, the problem is like, they're fun, but they do have that history element. But I don't know if that would be like so fun for a first timer. If you know.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you got to be more specific. 'Cause
Okay. Well, I told you all the rides.
It's a must do, not must do's for this first round. So you can't just, it's like saying ride rides. Go ride the good rides. You basically just told the first timer, hey, first timer, go ride all the good rides.
You're not gonna like my second one then. So, all right.
You want a really good must do?
Sure, go ahead.
Watch the fireworks at Magic Kingdom.
Which ones?
The ones at night with the castle.
Okay, because they do have fireworks during the day on the stage show.
Yeah. No, it's only the ones at night. The night ones.
Okay, so happily ever after.
Super, super captivating.
Yeah,
For
they
the
are
first
pretty
timer.
captivating. Did you cry?
I did not cry, but I witnessed other grown men cry, which is when I found out how captivating it was.
Matthews cried.
I can see how, like, someone that's into Disney, whether you're a man or a woman, can cry at that thing.
It's super moving.
Yeah, it's.
I got a qualifier because I did not cry at Happily Ever After. I
Point of
cried at
clarification
Fantasmic.
here.
If you're going to insult me, get it right.
I'm not.
Which, by the way,
insulting-
first timer should totally do Fantasmic. Just throwing it out there. Just sneaking that little nugget of information in.
Bonus.
I know this is the problem with lists is that there's always bonuses, which is why I'm doing blankets.
Yeah.
So that way I don't have bonuses.
No, we need to give them legitimate tactics. You can't like confuse them. Like, they said I must do all this stuff. No, you got to give them specifics.
All right, fine. So okay, I like it. So fireworks at Magic Kingdom, and then Fantasmic as well.
Yes.
So nighttime shows.
There you go.
Do them all.
Okay, nighttime shows. Do them all. Yeah.
Exactly.
You see, like, this is the worst. This is the worst must do list.
Anywho, let's press on. Michelle, what's your second one on your must dos?
I've been toiling that since you guys came back around, and now I'm not ready.
Okay, that's okay. Matthew, what's your second one on your must dos?
So my second one on my must dos is going to be it's kind of now, it used to be an e-ticket. It's still an e-ticket attraction, but it's kind of taken a step back. And I'm talking about an Animal Kingdom Expedition Everest as a must do.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Ever since, before Pandora opened, Expedition Everest was kind of your rope drop, got to rush to it, either get use your first morning fast pass on it, or, get there, rush to it after rope drop and just get in the standby line in hopes of riding it multiple times. But you want to talk about an attraction that kind of will appeal to all age demographics. Certainly it's got that thrill level, but it's not the thrill level to like a rock and roller coaster where it has inversions. You don't have the initial launch, but it still packs a punch in terms of the thrill department. And you want to talk about an attraction that has, just truly a feat of Imagineering.
Oh, I would say so. Yeah. 100%.
Any Disney fanatic knows about, they hear stories about Joe Rohde actually going to Nepal and doing research and bringing back artifacts to incorporate into the queue line. And, when you're in that queue line, boy, I tell you what, you feel like you're in Nepal and you're in this village. And then you're, and you see all the little, the Yeti artifacts, not limited to the Yeti scat, which I'm sure they went through great lengths for authenticity on that one.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think that Expedition, like everything that you said about Expedition Everest, which, by the way, Richie, so Matthew's being super specific. I know that thrills you.
Yes. Yes, it does.
It definitely has that appeal for so many different types of groups. And something that will bring a Disney person back is that theming that, starts way, way out, when you first enter in the Asia land of Animal Kingdom. Like, that's where the theming for the ride starts. And then it just, like, sinks you right in to it. Mm-hmm. So 100%. I'm going to take that one as a must-do, too, on my bonus list.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, Michelle, what do you got?
Okay. It's another kind of out of the box type of thing.
We like that.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys are gonna name all the hard hitter attractions. So I want to make sure that some like low key things that I think people need to do get out there. And I think Richie would appreciate this one as well, even though it's not entirely specific. But the must do for me is take your time and take in everything that's not an attraction. So for example, like your day at Hollywood Studios, a lot of people see it now as a half day park. But there's so many like little nuances that Disney puts out there. Like, go ahead, go watch the March of the First Order, or look around for the citizens of Hollywood and see what kind of shenanigans they're getting into today. Or even in Main Street, like stop and listen to the Dapper Dans for a little bit. You know, it doesn't always need to be hustle and bustle. Like, oh my God, we have this fast pass, or we need to be first in line for Space Mountain so we don't have to wait for it. Like, just take in the little things that never have a line.
True.
So a specific I'd like to point out there was the March of the First Order. That's where the troops are in the suits, right?
Yeah.
With Darth Vader?
Yes.
Okay. That's a must-do.
Yeah.
That's my bonus. I haven't even seen that thing, but I've seen it on Instagram. It looks awesome.
So it is a bonus, or is it just your number 2?
No, it's a bonus. I already have my number 2. That's very specific.
Anyways.
That's coming next.
Okay. Matthew, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. So I was going to say, I would like to just, I'm a proponent of my wife's suggestion about kind of those other little things that, you know, that make the Disney parks, you know, kind of stand out from the rest of the pack. And, you know, a lot of things that she listed, you know, whether it's the Citizens of Hollywood or the March of the First Order, those are things that you don't have to wait in line for, but they're just as entertaining. I've seen the March of the First Order multiple times, and it's still awesome every time I watch it.
Nice.
Yeah. Especially, and also like at Hollywood Studios, like it's one of those parks where if you like really walk around and, you know, take in kind of like the little details. For instance, if you look above Hollywood and Vine, you can see Eddie Valiant's office with a kind of a cutout of the Roger Rabbit's silhouette for any of those Roger Rabbit fans that didn't know about that. And if you go to Backlot Express, there's tons of kind of behind the scenes photos and movie memorabilia as well. That, you know, that's something that are kind of like little nuggets of fun that are, you know, you don't have to wait in line for, which I think are still just as cool.
Yeah, like just as entertaining even, because you never get to see it.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So my second, we're number 2. Richie's not gonna like it. So my first one was Ride the Classics. My second one is Eat the Classics. But the only ones I put on my specific list were the popcorn and a Mickey Premium and a Dole Whip.
Okay. So eat all the good stuff. No, that's pretty specific though, I guess.
I mean, I think that just, you know, part of the fun of going on vacation is discovering foods, and, you know, if you have no dietary restrictions, then why not just go ham and eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I think that for to know foods as iconic as the Mickey Premium and the Dole Whip, to say that you've actually eaten them, I think that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty cool stamp on your, you know, your Disney passport that you've got.
Lori, I'm a little disappointed.
Why?
After spending approximately 7 hours yesterday dishing out turkey legs, I am a little heartbroken that did not make your list.
To have a turkey leg?
Can I put it on my list?
No.
Okay. Well, I definitely, I should have put it on my list. I have so many regrets right now. You know what, though? At least with the turkey leg, I feel like maybe it's because I'm more of like it's not that I'm not a meat eater, but maybe like I prefer like the sweets and the snacks. And whereas like a turkey leg is like, yes, it's definitely an icon, obviously. But maybe like if I were to choose like a turkey leg or a Mickey Premium, I'd go the Mickey Premium route or the Dole Whip route. So
this is true.
Okay, how about an actual specific must do?
Okay.
So I'll tell you my second one.
Okay, go ahead.
Test Track.
Good one.
Legitimate must do in Epcot.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Because it's
It's
thrilling?
an amazing experience. It's thrilling. It's like interactive. You can do it with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you can do it with there you go.
Or you can do it solo.
Or you
like,
can do it alone.
You know? Yeah, Test Track.
Well, you know what? Like, So on one of our recent episodes, we talked about Disney thrill rides. This is what you kind of boil down to as your favorite thrill ride because of how fast it is and because you like cars.
That's 100% correct.
Yeah, so I think that's a good one. I think that I kind of went over before, like not recently at this point, but they've rethemed it from the original version. And I kind of liked the original version because it was more like Crash Test Dummies type of things, and now it's just like psychedelic and Tronish.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
But still.
So Michelle, what is your final must do?
I finally have an attraction for you.
Nice.
Interesting. Let's do it.
And it's one of my secret favorites, I guess. Well, Matt's realizing it's one of my favorites, but for some reason, for the longest time, he thought I hated it. But I guess it's because I'm really particular about when I write it, because I can't write it when it's cold or usually at night.
Intriguing.
And it is a good old zippity-doo-dah splashy mountain.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a water ride?
It's a water ride.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, if it's not, that's just the worst name ever.
Yeah, I know.
The whole time you're in line, there's just so much anticipation, and the line. I think the queue is really cool, even though it's not one of the interactive or heavily themed lines. I still think it's relatively cool. And then you get in your log, and the first thing you do is you look down, and you're like, ooh, this one's really wet. And then you get in, and then you put your lap bar down, and you're just immediately into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, you know what, I kind of like just thinking about queues in general, especially the queues ready to get on a thrill ride. I think it makes it that much more thrilling because it's like opening Christmas presents. You see all the presents under the tree, ooh, what's in them? And then the night it finally happens, it's yes!
Mm-hmm.
I did get my nano blocks that I wanted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely agree. Although I haven't ridden Splash Mountain in a really long time, I definitely agree with you that first-timers must do it. All right, Matt, what is your final must-do?
So for my final must-do, I'm going to go to Epcot. Epcot, still great park. And obviously everyone kind of knows Epcot for, it's synonymous with the one thing, the golf ball, as I would say that the first timer is probably going to call it the big golf ball. But us kind of Disney fanatics, we know it as Spaceship Earth. And so that's going to be my final must-do is Spaceship Earth. I think a lot of people don't realize that it's not just this geodesic sphere structure that just kind of sits there and gets a tan every day, but there is an attraction inside of it.
Gets a tan.
And although this attraction has gone through kind of the facade remains the same, but in the internal attraction has undergone a few changes over the years, but at its core, it's still a classic attraction that has been there since 1982. It was an opening day attraction, and certainly I think it still holds up to this day. Going through the history of communication and how we've learned to connect as a people, and which I think kind of goes along with the overarching theme of Epcot, which is kind of we're all one people and we all share this earth together. And Spaceship Earth kind of delves into communication and how we, although we have many different cultures, but we're still able to communicate and connect with one another across the world.
I like it.
I also like how someone is, I think there's a company out there that has managed to take the Rome burning smell and turn it into a candle scent. Shout out to whoever you are out there.
I went pretty deep. I went way deeper than I thought you were going to go with that.
What, you thought it was just going to be Ride Spaceship Earth?
Yeah.
No.
Solid.
Because it's the message.
Yeah.
Which has escaped Richie up until just now.
A little bit. I got it a little bit, when I first wrote it.
Well, a couple weeks ago at our mom's house, I smelled the Rome burning smell outside, and I was like, wow, this smells dangerous, but great. I don't know. It was on a chilly night. Maybe they had a fireplace in Florida.
And, Epcot is kind of, I think it's kind of in a transition period a little bit. I feel like, we saw Universe of Energy, hashtag Ellen's Energy Adventure, kind of, it's no longer with us. And I definitely think Future World is kind of in an area of flux right now. Innoventions, it really isn't true Innoventions anymore. But I hope that Spaceship Earth is going to be one of those attractions that kind of stands the test of time, and it will still kind of be that gateway, that doorway to the past, and not only literally but also figuratively, as like kind of just remaining as an opening day attraction that still stands the test of time.
Yeah, I agree. Even though, despite refurbishments, as long as it's there, I think that makes a big statement as well.
Yeah.
All right. So my final must-do, I'm on the fence because I had two. My final must-do is spend time on Main Street.
Okay, cool. That's a solid specific.
Okay, gosh. So much judgment, Richie.
Solid specific.
And I think that, spending time on Main Street, it's literally walking in the footsteps of Walt, where where Disney parks in general kind of started from. You have the ambiance, the music, the entertainment. You have the hidden gems in the windows that are dedicated to the Disney legends. You have the food, so much food available on Main Street, including the confectionery, where you can get a treat. You can see there's so much more to do on Main Street, I feel like, than people realize, because there's no specific rides at all, but you can sit down, you can people watch, you can watch a parade, you can watch a dance party at this point, and you can participate in all of this. And, it's at the same time kind of still having that the main goal of what Walt wanted, which is creating an environment where adults and kids can both have a great time. And that's all the vibes that you get from Main Street USA.
Cool.
Specific.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, I think Main Street in of itself is a hidden gem. I don't think a lot of people, a lot of first timers probably take the time to really appreciate what's going on Main Street. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people take their time and just kind of use it for just awesome selfies for the castle.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. Certainly, getting a selfie on Main Street in front of the castle is certainly a memory that you're going to want to cherish. But, I think, taking the Lou Mangello approach to Main Street, look at the windows on Main Street, which are a hidden gem. You can see a lot of famous names and a lot of Imagineers who are no longer with us, but who were had an integral part of what you see before you when you're on Main Street.
Yeah, 100%, all of that. Yeah, so that's my final one. Now, let's leave it to Richie. This should be interesting.
So, rounding off the ultimate to-do list that I would say must-do list that I would say is if there was this was ever a competition, which I know it's not obviously, but mine would definitely be the best. And I'll tell you why. Is one, it's specific. Okay. Number two is that each of my must-dos is in different parks. And with that, the final must-do on my list is the raspberry iced tea in Animal Kingdom.
Wow.
From Tiffin's.
That is darn specific.
Yes, it is, and it's amazing.
Go over it. Describe it for us.
It's a raspberry iced tea in Tiffin's in the Animal Kingdom. That's really good, and you can get it in a to-go cup if need be.
Well,
and take it to go.
And the cool thing about this particular raspberry iced tea is that it's served with fresh vanilla bean simple syrup as well, so you can sweeten it to your liking.
Served over ice.
Super refreshing in the Florida hot sun.
You get a paper.
Sounds refreshing.
It's oddly refreshing.
Oddly refreshing.
So.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, and just to give you an example of how much Richie appreciates this raspberry iced tea, we had one iced tea to stay. He bought a second one to go.
Duh. That's probably the only way to really do that properly.
Is to keep the experience going.
Yeah,
even
you need
after.
to get one and realize, wow, that was actually really good. I should probably get a second and take it to go while you're out and about and continuing your day.
Nice.
It's just the only way to do it.
Okay, well.
Could get pricey though on your second one.
Well, yeah. Well, it'd be even pricier if you got a third one, so I'm glad you stopped at two.
Yeah, for now, who knows what it's gonna be like next time.
Don't say that. All right. Well, that was a fun list. I think that, we all had different angles on where we wanted to take this. Clearly,
Some
I was very
better,
generic.
Some better than others.
Well, I can't. That's a jab. But I think that this was a nice overall guide to some of the things that people from different perspectives might like to see. So awesome. I love it.
Matt and Michelle, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you guys.
Anytime.
Thanks for having us, guys. Hope to be on a future episode in the near future.
Yes.
Indeed.
And for anyone that's tuning in right now, we'd appreciate you to leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Definitely make sure to subscribe on YouTube and iTunes. We're on SoundCloud. We are on Google Play. You can find us on Facebook. Definitely connect with us on Facebook. Like our page there. We're posting a bunch of cool articles that I'm seeing them pop up in my feed now. I'm like, oh, this is super interesting. But yeah, definitely follow us on Facebook. We're on Twitter, Instagram, at the Walt Daily. Where else are we?
We're on iTunes.
I said iTunes already.
Sorry.
Medium.com. And definitely make sure if you are tuning in, if you have an Alexa device, definitely add us to your flash briefing at the Walt Daily. You get every day, you get some new, interesting, fun facts about Disney. There's like words of the day. What other kind of stuff's on there?
Rides, things about rides, history.
It's really good, guys. Like, it is super well produced, and it's definitely some content that I would consume on a daily basis, and I'm not even a fanatic. So
No, you're just a
regular dude.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, spending some time with us. We hope this brings a little bit of magical day. We hope this brings a little bit of magic to your day, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.